Shockingly, Rudy Giuliani is still the president's lawyer somehow, and because of that, he gets booked on cable news quite often. And because he's, a close confidant of the president, what this guy thinks about things like the Black Lives Matter movement, that concerns me, and I think it should concern all of us. Here is what he had to say recently on Fox News.
They want to do away with the police. This is no longer America. This is some other country. They are literally trying to overthrow our way of life. And we can't have that happen with a phony election. If the American people want that, they darn well better vote for it, because I don't think they will. As they learn more about the agenda, just go read the 2 or 3 backup documents for Black Lives Matter. Black people get salaries for the rest of their lives. Nobody else. It's a very, very strange society they want to set up. And so far, they haven't said a single word, even when the terrible violence is taking place by Antifa or by Black Lives Matter, both of whom are domestic terrorist groups, without any doubt. And you know who knows that best? African Americans. I've actually had them tell me, why aren't they classified as a terrorist group? Is it just because they're black and nobody can say it?
Okay, so that is Rudy Giuliani echoing what Tucker Carlson has been saying for months, that Black Lives Matter, all the protesters, they are all terrorists, effectively. It's a domestic terror group, and they should be arrested and locked up en masse for terrorism.
So let's be clear. Every person in the streets of America is not a member of the Black Lives Matter organization. Mm-hmm. What Black people are saying is that our lives matter, that we support the mantra of the organization, that we support the idea that Black people should have their full humanity in America. Rudy Giuliani said something that's quite telling to me. He said that they believe that Black people should be paid and nobody else, right, for the rest of their lives. We were worked for free.
Yeah.
Under slavery, and nobody else was. Okay? There were entire economies built on the backs of Black people for free, brutalized, who were raped, who were treated as less than human, who our Constitution and our document says were 3/5 of a person. So if America owes anybody anything, it owes Black people something. We pay money to Japan for what we did to them. We pay money to many other countries for the damages that we've done in war, yet we will not pay for the American citizens who you killed their ancestors, you legally allowed their ancestors to be brutalized. Rudy Giuliani is a joke. He's trying to remain relevant, and that's really what happens to failing white politicians at this point. They attach themselves to this guy so that they can get on TV, because otherwise, who would care what Rudy Giuliani had to say anyway?
That is a very good point. And, to your earlier point, it really does seem like they don't want to say it specifically, but all they're doing is they're imagining all of the injustices that were perpetrated on Black Americans during slavery, and they're just switching the positions and imagining that's what the future must hold, and they're terrified by it. They're worried that they're not going to get the money, that only Black people somehow are going to get the money. They talk about, armed gangs. Tucker Carlson talked about this, that I think it might, or maybe it was Sean Hannity, said that there's not going to be police, there's just going to be armed Black gangs walking the streets and hunting people down, calling to mind, of course, groups of white individuals hunting down escaped slaves and things like that. The fact that they say we won't ever be able to win an election, when, of course, for how long Black people weren't allowed to vote. So yeah, it really just does seem like they're trying to conjure up for their white audience a future where things are going to be flipped and the sins of the past are going to come home to roost, something that's been lurking in their minds. And my fear is that for their largely older, very conservative white audience, that it might be effective, that they've poisoned them against any sort of consideration for the need for reform of the police and that sort of thing. I wonder how effective this sort of rhetoric is.
When you're talking to evil, hateful people who know what they would do or what they have done with power. We don't have massive examples of Black people suppressing other people as a result in America. Black leadership in America is some of the most gracious leadership. Black folks are too forgiving sometimes, if you ask me. If you look at when Dylan Roof killed the 9 people in the church in South Carolina, before he was even sent to trial, the family forgave him, right? Yeah. Because that is the heart of Black people in America, that we are a forgiving people, but we are not a foolish people. And we know that we have been screwed by America. And what we are saying is, give us what we are due, because we have built this country. Yeah. And that we did so for free. And so I think that the fear that is upon them is because they know what they have done. And when you know that you are guilty, my grandmother also says, a hit dog will holler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Now, look, unfortunately, we do have a little bit more from Rudy Giuliani. Before we get to the second video, though, I do want to respond to one of the claims he made, which was that they, I guess, Black Lives Matter leadership or the protesters have been silent about the violence. They haven't acknowledged it. There has been violence and people have been killed. That's true. And they've almost always been identified after the fact to be KKK members, white supremacists, militia members, and things like that. They refuse to acknowledge that, despite the fact that throughout all of this, you've had headlines like from friend of the show, Ken Klippenstein, the FBI found no intel indicating Antifa involvement in Sunday's violence. The fact that reports going back literally years show that right-wing extremists have murdered at least 329 victims in the last 2.5 decades, while Antifa members, who pretty much everyone at these civil rights protests is tarred as being one of those, haven't killed any. We know the nature of the actual violence, and they don't want to talk about it. I don't know if you saw, but Ted Cruz had a hearing yesterday talking about violence at these protests, and he kept referring to a particular act of violence where 2 police officers were killed, and he kept implying that that was BLM protesters that had done that. It was a white supremacist, and we've known that for literally months now, but he kept repeating it, even though he kept getting corrected by other members at the hearing. It was too convenient for him to pretend that it was Black activists that had done that.
Because he knows that the people who support him aren't actually watching the hearing, that he can cut his soundbite on his social media and talk to them. And so he continues to tell those lies. It is incumbent upon the rest of us to confront those lies as often as he spews them.
Exactly. Okay, just a little bit more from Rudy Giuliani, because he has landed on a talking point that the president used in his recent interview. Here is the president's lawyer.
Yeah. Stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense. These are killers, and these are people who hate white people. They're people who hate white men in particular, and they want to do away with a mother-father family. They don't think fathers are necessary. This is what we're talking about, not the bull that you get on silly television.
It's important to point out, too, Rudy, that there's a difference in the slogan, Black Lives Matter, and the group that is yelling, fry 'em like bacon. Totally different.
Rudy Giuliani, they hate white people. They especially hate white men. They especially hate old white New York lawyers. Like, how specific can he get with his fears there? And then she says, no, go on.
So let's be clear. If we want to talk about what's wrong with America, white men have been at the center of it. Who were the founding fathers? Who allowed Black people to be considered 3/5 a person? Who allowed slavery to exist in America? It was not white women in charge. It was not Black men in charge. It was not the natives in charge. It was white men. Who are the majority of the people running America right now into the ground? White men. Who are the majority of the governors who are failing their citizens in America? White men. And so there is a white men. Maybe if some of you stepped aside and allowed people with a little more humanity and a little more compassion to live, we could move from the dirt and the dust that is in to a place that is prosperous for all people. And when white men stop fearing that the advancement of other groups of people is somehow going to harm them, then maybe America could get to a place of real progress for all people.
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani is trash.
I think we've long suspected that. Yeah, he is. And Ainsley Earhart there, who she didn't identify. I assume that she's in the leadership of Black Lives Matter. She's speaking as if she was in defining what they're actually about. She said the thing that Trump said at the Axios interview, the reference to the pigs in a blanket quote, which, again, in case people don't know, we have international viewers who don't necessarily know this whole movement and its history and everything. That was like a couple of people at one meeting 6 years ago, and they're still talking about it. The president is still talking about it, and he's using it as an excuse to say, I don't need to acknowledge any of these grievances. There is nothing valid about it. I don't have to have a meeting. There will be no reforms because someone chanted 6 years ago. Like, what social movement doesn't have a sign that's offensive, or a chant, or a slogan, or someone tweets something? That is a threat. That is a standard that no organized movement could ever pass. And of course, they don't really care. It's not like they're actually worried that these people are going to be killing cops. It's just convenient to say, we don't have to pay attention to these people and their concerns.
Cops kill more people than people kill cops. That's number one. Number two, look at the comment section of any local news station in the Deep South, and I'm sure you will find worse said about Black people than what those people said about police officers. Yeah. And the question becomes, did any of those people harm a police officer? I'm probably sure they didn't.
Yeah.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.